Start recording. And I'm going to start today's meeting with a minute of silence, actually, so that we can all sink in, ground, breathe, and connect to the space, connect to this present moment. So, when you hear the sound of my ukulele again, you know that the minute of silence is over. In the meantime, enjoy the present moment, my dear friends. Alrighty. You can hug yourselves, stretch. So with Nikki, we have a couple of agenda items, topics of discussion for today's gathering. And I would also like to ask anyone who has a pressing topic very alive with them to put them in our chat. And if you do, please put agenda and then put like 2 or 3 words max. It doesn't have to explain what the agenda item is. You'll be able to explain when you talk about it. And you can do that and put agenda before, just so that I can always know that that's an agenda topic. And you can do that throughout the entire meeting. So whenever I see agenda, I know that there's a new one that was alive at some point for you. So I guess I would like to begin this by having a check-in. And I was going to say a quick check-in, but it doesn't have to be quick necessarily. I would like this check-in to be more focused on what your level of energy is arriving here today and what are the alive stories that you feel are important for this space. And I can start us off with saying that my energy level arriving here today is in the middle of the screen. It's not on the top of the screen. It's not on the bottom. It's in the middle of the screen. And the story that is alive for me today and that I feel would be important to bring up is the story of communication throughout the seeds ecosystem and in our little Renaissance Explorers hub. And I will put that as an agenda item, by the way. And asking you to Max, what is your level of energy and what is the story that is alive?
Was it me? Because I couldn't hear it. Okay. So energy level is this is how it feels, and it's quite positive. And agenda item, actually, I would have. I know we aim to create story pieces for the sections, and I would like to know, like, if there are ideas specifically on that. So I put it in the chat. Ooh, Tina, welcome, welcome. I would like to hand it to you if you are ready.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Morning, Tina. Can you share how you arrive, what your energy level is, and if you have any agenda for today's meeting?
Tina, now I cannot hear you if you're already speaking.
Sorry about that. I had to switch to my phone because I don't have internet connection today. So sorry about that. Yeah, my energy is, I just got up, so it's hard to know. I'm a slow waker, actually. I'm okay. I feel like I need to be taking care of myself a little better in general. So I think my energy is waning. That's usually pretty high. I can get away with a lot of abuse. But I think I need to start eating better. I don't have any agenda items. I'm also interested in communication in the entire space, the ecosystems. So that'll be interesting to explore. How about you, Nikki? How are you doing today?
Thanks, Tina. Hi, everyone. I'm coming here with quite some energy, actually, because I'm hungry. And usually when I'm hungry, then I have this release of energy in my body and tend to be more active. So that keeps me going. And what I'm bringing here is already in the chat, actually. I'm also very curious about what kind of stories everybody's working on and would like to work on, and how, how we can support you in that. I'm currently working on a submission guideline for storytellers together with Anna. So just to give some more clarity on possible remuneration if you submit something, and what you need to kind of like keep in mind if you want to submit and publish something on the Seeds library. So yeah, that is what I'd like to talk about today. How about you, Cassius?
I am, my level of energy is medium high. I'm feeling energized today. I'm feeling like many things are moving, and I'm glad to be in this space. I'm also very curious about those guidelines, not just for the library, but for explorers in general, since we also just got a budget in Brazil for content creation in Portuguese. So we'd love to see, like, okay, what do we have here that we can kind of know as the format for bounties, for example, or the types of content that can be used. Like, how could we replicate, because we're also sensing the need for like inner space, outer space, and storytelling space in our kind of bi-regional circle. So it's like, oh, we're kind of integrating this as well. So I'm very curious about what we can do in both spaces. And how about you, Rachel?
Can you guys hear me at all? Hello?
Yes.
Oh, you can. Okay, good. My phone is not allowing me to get past the turn on video screen again. So I'm surprised that I was able to unmute it. So I'm feeling good. Just waking up, so my energy level is I guess low so far, and but building little by little. And I guess I can't think of any topics for that's up for me. But I guess I love seeing all the art be drawn and created and posted in the storytelling area, and um, I love listening to everything that comes into this space, and communication is good too. So yeah, and I can't see who's on the call, so if you guys can just pass it on to whoever.
Let's say she passed it on to Melanie.
Thank you. My energy level is quite high. So I'm already awake for 7 or 8 hours. It's around 1 p.m. right now. I've worked the whole morning on my little piece of chapter input for the codex. So I'm quite excited that I have found my very own style for that. And as we have spoken about the codex, it might not fit with any other style in the whole codex, but I like it. So quite high energy. And I'm also energized by what Tina put in the forum about the idea of the regenerative metrics index, which is quite fun, where I would love to speak in a different call more about, because I don't feel it's a storytelling part, my guess. But if you, Tina, feel it has to do with this part, because like always, there are stories around it, feel free to put it as an agenda item. What would I need to know more about? Nothing. And I hand over, yes, I hand over to Justin, because I love the gene keys. My main keys are 10 and 15 if it tells you a story. How about you, Justin?
Yeah. I'm also just waking up, so I get to have my kind of my deep voice right now, so I'm appreciating that. I hear it's not always this way, but the 10 and the 15 are my radiance and my purpose. So it tells me that I know something about your work and your evolution in life. Yeah, if it's okay, can I tell a story right now, Anna, or collective?
You can, yes.
Be quick. It's the story of moving from deafness to epiphany through insight. And the story says every human being is born to be a rebel, in the sense of filling a space in the world that cannot be duplicated by another. So the wisdom is, I worried a lot as a kid. My mind spun with speculation about the bad things that could happen and how I could avoid them. My more sturdy brothers teased me for being such an emotional wimp. At school, I was called the brain. I felt different and weird and wanted so badly to fit in, to feel secure and be successful. Ironically, my ability to anticipate problems made me a great programmer. No one could find and fix bugs like I could. Suddenly, it was cool to be a nerd. As a young man, I had wealth and independence. Thrilled I could finally compete with my brothers I dominated the conversation during family visits, talking endlessly about my success at work. Deaf to their contributions, I showed off my latest gadgets, gave unasked for technological advice, and blurted out inappropriate comments about how big my abs were after hiring a personal trainer. I was too busy winning their approval to notice what a pain I was or how deeply I envied their relationships. Then I go home and pull out my feel-good technology. I play video games, watch TV, and surf multiple dating sites at the same time. Obsessed with freeing up my time to be more productive, I learned to operate my stereo, TV, computer, car, solar panels, and sauna off my phone. But instead of freeing up my time, technology swallowed it whole. The harder I worked to streamline my life, the more complicated it became. I couldn't stop the noise. That's when I had a breakthrough insight. Nothing I did, used, or accumulated would ever make me feel more comfortable in my own skin, or like I truly belonged to this world. In one fell swoop, I canceled all my subscriptions and threw my TV and gadgets in the closet, and I got quiet, really quiet. All I did was listen. At first to the noise in my own head, then to the sounds of my home, then to the birds in my backyard. Slowly, I brought back technology. First the music, then the podcast, touching ones with stories about real people who suffered and prevailed. That's when I received the insight that would change the course of my life. I created a radio show for and in honor of the people who felt like me. I call it Outcasts. That was just the beginning. My gift to you. I'm here to invite you and to invite out the rebel in you, the poet, the lover, the mad scientist, the revolutionary. There's something only you can do, something your entire life has prepared you for. It is time to take a risk, to shake up a system. You may make waves. That's okay. Whatever you do, stop listening to the status quo. This is not about venting or blaming. This is about being creative and being open to love. You don't have to know where exactly you're headed or why in order to trust your inner voice. As you courageously forge a new pathway, don't be surprised if your timing gets better and breakthrough insights come your way. Dare to be who you are, and you will ignite the creative rebel in others, wherever you go. Questions to contemplate. What do you worry most about these days? Do you obsess over your worries or drown them out with busyness, outer noise, or your own talking? Do you ever feel misunderstood or like a misfit? How might your need to self-protect be deafening you to others? What might you do differently if you weren't afraid of being different? Have you ever had a deep insight or epiphany? What was it? Track your worry throughout the day. Watch it shapeshift. And I'll pass it to Augie. Welcome.
Was it me? We just came. Is it like what we are bringing to space? And sorry.
It's what's your energy level coming to the space, and what story or stories you feel are alive for you and that are relevant for this space.
Since 24th of July, as we are in the new circle, I've had a boost of some ideas and energy, and I was really reflecting with Tai about it. I needed to take some like time off for a week from here and everything that's happening, so I can regenerate myself. So I'm bringing curiosity and high actually level of energy. I was yesterday shooting a message to Max, and thanks Max for a beautiful feedback. I don't know how much this is relevant to the storytellers per se, but there is a movement within me to make a group of people who are interested and to start maybe thinking about how we could bring in there is a big amount of like companies who are currently doing on psychedelic research as plant medicine and stuff, and I think as they are already very much involved within the crypto communities with the fundraising and the fundings of the research, I think that maybe this community can have some people who are interested in like making some kind of plan of bringing those organizations in. And I was planning it alone for a long time. Of course, I crashed. So yeah, I'm interested. I don't know if this is the space for it, or maybe ambassadors or both. But yeah, that's where I am currently. And plus, yes, one more thing. I have some interesting ideas towards codex creation that would be bringing in the values from inner space, but let's maybe wait for the codex creation group for that. And yeah, how about you?
Yeah, I totally resonate with what you said. I mean, we needed this more introspective time to realign within our purpose and within the energy. And this new cycle that just started comes with lots of energy, as I even mentioned some meetings ago within other communities. So I think goal is now take energy of seeding and put the energy to work on all the projects that are already on board and ongoing. So yeah, address. And now I understand the energy I have to address, so start addressing it to change points. So that's it for us. And Mila, I think we haven't heard about you yet.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, this is the first time I'm actually attending, but I've watched the recording. I'm Mila in Cambridge. I feel a bit way behind. I feel like an orphan of Renaissance Explorer because I'm having issues with the newsletters because I haven't received it. Rachel has, and Anna has kindly forwarded a few of them, although I have it in my contact hello@joinseeds.com. I haven't received anything. So not even the acceptance letter. That's why I feel like an imposter here. In terms of storytelling, my energy right now is just calm and not really. I had a really good night's sleep, which makes a difference. I haven't had great sleep in the last couple of days. And in terms of the storytelling agenda, I'd follow everyone's agenda because I feel like a newbie and just a childlike wonder, bringing that kind of curiosity and learning. And I just love stories. I work with Indigenous elders, so stories is a great big part of the culture. Thank you. Oh, who else hasn't been asked? Is that Michael? Hey, Michael, over to you.
Thanks, Mila. Are you Cambridge, UK or Cambridge, US?
Cambridge, UK.
Fabulous. Hello, everyone. If I were to choose an emoji to describe my energy level, it would be the one with the exploding head. This last week has been off the charts. So for those who don't know, we're slowly getting a movement going in South Africa as a result of riots that happened 2 odd weeks ago. And the movement really is is it possible as a country to break away from all of the systems that we view are keeping us trapped? So I'll put a little website in the chat. I'm not going to share this yet in the forum or Discord because we're not quite ready yet, and I'm not able to discuss it yet, but we've been reaching out to activist movements in the country, and their response has just been off the charts positive and accepting, and so this is going to be very big and move very quickly. And part of it is why it's relevant to this group is because the first action we're asking everybody to take is to open a Seeds passport. So we'll see how much traction that movement gets very, very soon. We plan to launch on Saturday, the 31st of July, which is exactly 3 months before COP26, the start of COP26. We're kind of weaving 3 major themes together: climate, politics, and economics. And it becomes very complicated, and yet we've turned it into what I think is quite a nice story. It starts with a letter or an invitation that goes to CEOs or people of influence. And the whole idea is that we're templatizing this so that any country, assuming we get some level of success, any country can replicate it and put the same thing in place. So just hugely, hugely exciting. As a result, I've been very quiet in the forum and on Discord. So my request for the agenda is to summarize absolutely everything going on in the Seeds ecosystem in 30 seconds or less. Thank you. And handing back to Anna, I think that's the only person that's left.
Me too.
João just popped in, so João, would you like to quickly check in with your sharing with us your energy level and what story is alive for you and that would be relevant for this space?
Yes, I can. Today I woke up and I saw the sun and the mountains going up very soon, and I feel inspired today very much. I was writing about how we can yeah, I'm writing something very cool, and I will pass for. I'm sorry to come so late.
Yes, please go, Javier.
Hi, I'm having a laugh and I'm very tired. I feel I have an overview of Seeds now. I have put my fingers in every plate now, in lots of different places, and I'm getting a big picture, and it's really amazing. It's all going so fast. Last night I was in Alliance Onboarding Subcircle, and just watching them working so efficiently and so intensely, it made me feel, God, these people need a holiday, and most of them will have it soon. I think a few of us need it. I also need a holiday. But yeah, I'm good, I'm cool, and I'm hoping I can be of inspiration somewhere. Let's go.
Alrighty. No one is missing, right? No, I think we're good. Welcome, Mila. First time I see you here. Very happy to see you here after so much communication through messaging. Does anyone here feel inspired to begin with the crazy request by Michael to give a story of the Seeds ecosystem in 30 seconds? I am setting my alarm here, and anyone who is interested, I'll start, and we'll see if you can do it in 30 seconds. Yes, Melanie, are you ready?
Yes.
Set.
Okay.
Go.
Everything is changing. People are coming together in new circles, and the most important thing is Haifa has learned that they have to delegate and share. That's all.
Ooh, in 15 seconds. Okay, awesome. Thank you so very much for this. I like this.
The other 15 seconds will go to all of those who have spent more time in Discord. So I just summarized where I have been.
Okay, anyone up for picking up that baton in 15 seconds?
I couldn't do one in 1 second. That's my that's my summary.
Okay, let's go. I'll try.
Okay, go.
But if there was a place where the future was the present, where you could grow and be and do all that you came here to do, to be, and to see, the future now seeds.
Yes!
Oh my God, what luck do we have that he woke up with the rough voice today.
Ooh, João also wants to try. Oh my God, we have so many different, 15 or 30 seconds, João.
Maybe just to clarify, what we were looking for is a summary of what's happened in the last week, specifically to explorers. So not seeds as an ecosystem, but what's going on in Discord and the forum.
And that's why I'm explained the milestone part. I feel that's the most important thing. If you have to watch one call, it's that one last Friday. Would be mine.
The round table one.
Yeah, yeah. I feel that's the most important one.
Agreed. It's okay. It was a beautiful day nonetheless.
The other thing is also cool, I think. It's quite useful to have like
I'm
a
sorry,
30
what?
seconds explanation of what seeds is. That is still something we need for the other video as well.
Indeed. And yes, maybe I'll pass that on to Nikki. We have the intention with Nikki, well, we are actually doing that right now, making weekly recaps of what happens in Renaissance Explorers and doing that with a quick Loom video. So we'll have like a slide of what happened in inner space, outer space, and storytelling space, and explain. But Nikki, go ahead.
Well, you just explained it. And we have one in the making from last week, and I did some notes for it, and Anna is now recording herself. Not sure where it's at, but the one for this week I think is going to come a bit later. So I'm not sure what else to share about it. I think it's going to come out today or tomorrow. Is that right?
Yep, and I passed it on to you so that you can talk about the video also that we started recording last week, and maybe you have some callings to do with certain people.
Oh, the montage. Yeah, that's right. So I'm still missing a couple of recordings from people who said they would redo it.
Me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also for some people, I'd like to receive English transcripts or subtitles. And it's all actually outlined in a document that I shared with you on Discord, but I can share it again just for clarity's sake. And yeah, I received some voice recordings from Kath as well that I'd like to incorporate, and I'd like to get it done by tomorrow ideally, but we'll see, how it goes. Is there a link going by? Yeah, so that's the update. Just a reminder for those people who are still in the process of doing that. Thank you.
I was just wondering how that video is going to look like. It's going to be like us that are talking about what's the seeds. It's person by person, and that's going to be an idea of video, right?
Yeah, so last time we talked about not using the camera or the video from the recording, but now I'm thinking I will still try to incorporate it in a short, like on the top corner of the video, there would be the person talking, and then there would be like an image or like some footage I get from somewhere in the background to play. And if somebody doesn't have that video, then it's just the footage and then the voice talking.
Nice.
So that's my idea, but I'll have to see what kind of free footage I can get from.
It's going to be a surprise. It'll be like opening a Christmas gift.
Exactly. Yeah. So once I have something, I'll share it with you, and it would be nice to get some feedback.
So as far as practicalities go, until when can anyone interested provide the recording to you, Nikki?
Well, the deadline was last night, so you're already late. But
so set a date and let's stick to it, because otherwise the contest will never go out, and it's a pity.
Yes, it would be nice if you can all send it over today, and I can work on it tomorrow, because next week or like soon I'll take some time off, and I'm not going to open my computer at all. So I'm planning to get things done as much done this week as possible.
Awesome. Would you like to also kick us off with talking about the storytelling guidelines? Do you need anything from this group? Do you want anything from the overall Explorers, Nikki, or was it just an announcement that you were making that we're working on the guidelines? Was that it?
Well, given that I just started working on it, I don't have so much written down. Okay, yeah. I'm relying mainly on the SEAS library guidelines for now, because I think a lot of us would like to also have it published there. So in order to make that process smoother, I think we're also going to stick to some of the guidelines in there for the RE space, which, you know, includes some formatting guidelines, you know, using an image and giving credit to it, how to structure your piece and so on. How long should it be, more or less, if it's an article or if it's a video. So I'm thinking of relying on those guidelines. But it would be nice to maybe hear about, given that that's also an agenda point, the different stories for the game guide. So what everybody is thinking of making, creating, what kind of submissions, you know, are coming up. Is it a video? Is it an article? Is it a voice recording? What is everybody working on? That would be nice to hear.
Awesome. I would also, like to know, because Cassius, that was one of your agenda items about the guidelines. So maybe you have specific questions around that. And yeah, the agenda item was from Max about the stories surrounding around the game guide. And that all ties into the campaign proposal that is up for voting now in the co-op, because if and when, I hope that it does pass, that campaign proposal passes, there is remuneration for those contributions. So it would be awesome to, one, know what kind of contributions we're going to be getting or sharing amongst each other, and two, how to do that, so the guidelines. So it all ties in together. So I'll pass it on to Cassius and Max in that order for guidelines and stories around the game guide.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few questions, but I don't know if it's seems like we still don't have like much of a, we have some guidelines, which is what is proposed on the campaign, but I thought like we maybe had a little bit more, because I remember seeing them somewhere like, oh, there's informational, artistic, and there's like a small bounty for each of them. So but then like that disappeared into the campaign, so I don't know if like that's still valid or not. So that's kind of mostly where I'm coming at it from.
Right, I maybe can answer that. I think where you saw that, Cassius, was in that huge document that started with budget proposal for the Renaissance Explorers storytelling space. And in that, I had defined the informative pieces and expressive pieces. And those would be stories, pieces of maps, diagrams, whatever people are inspired to create around very informative, around specifically the game guide, and well, everything around like how the seed system works. It's everything is encompassed in that game guide. So that's why I'm thinking about the game guide, but it's the seed system basically. And artistic expression, so more symbolic ways of conveying information. So that will most probably, most definitely be in the guidelines that we're going to create with Nikki for the explorers to submit contributions. Does that help?
Yep, totally. So keep an eye on that.
Cool. Max?
Yeah, for me it's similar maybe, of like, because we mentioned, I think only in the quest proposal, that we create pieces for each section. And so now we have section 0 done, and we need to create some pieces for that. But what does that really mean? Like a specific article or text or, art piece for that section. And I just wonder if we create limitations on that we define topics that are in the section 0 and they need to be addressed, or if it's like that open flow thing more, that people just come with ideas that they have, where I'm not too sure if that actually covers section 0 or section 1 or section 2, but doesn't move between these things. So that's why clarity, how we approach that.
I'd love to hear other opinions also on this. I'll start with sharing mine. I think when you speak of like section 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, you're talking about the quest, right? Because in the campaign proposal, we didn't specify that it was by chapter. So to me, the core team of RE has that responsibility of going and like for July, we have to, well, with Nikki now, create like 3 pieces of story for section 0. August, it will be 3 pieces of story for section 1 and so on and so forth. But for the explorers overall, for which we are also included, I think it can be way more open. That's my opinion on it. It's just an opinion. And that will be remunerated through the campaign that is in the co-op. I think naturally we will, in a way, kind of follow the sections that we are going over in the outer sessions, but maybe not. Maybe we'll be inspired to create a story that has more to do with economics, and we're still in section 1, which is organization. So I don't know. I would say that for explorers overall, and to be remunerated, those contributions to be remunerated through the campaign, it could be way more open. But that's my opinion. I'd love to hear other opinions.
I'm not sure what my opinion's on, so this is just what comes up for me as I'm listening. I think the idea of I've learned a practice called a listening circle, and it's all about storytelling and deep listening and presence and really just seeing what's at the center through holding space for others to just be heard without having to have response. Maybe reflections or witnessing at the end, but really just space to share. But one of the most important parts of that is one, having a center, something that people are all sitting around and circling up around, but also having a prompt. And those two forms, or those two tools, are deeply resourcing and allowing for that kind of coming together, or that hearing what's at the center or between us, or to kind of happen. And so I'm not speaking less about the actual practice, although I think it really is beautiful practice. But I'm speaking more about those two aspects of sharing and communing and almost counsel around storytelling, having a center, having a shape, or a circle, but a shape, and also having a prompt. And those things could be maybe really resourcing in alignment with what I kind of a gist of what Mac's bringing up, but also in alignment with that kind of a possibility that I kind of hear Anna keeping room for. No proposal at this time.
Yeah, my question was basically on, is that the work on what the quest does, is that open for all the explorers to participate in? Is that like, because for me still what the core team does is facilitate these things and enable people to do that, what they want to do. But also still hold the line of like where we are going, and steer a little bit. And so if the core team takes care of these stories that we sort of committed to in this quest, then that's totally fine. And the rest doesn't matter. Like, then everyone can contribute however they like. They can contribute to these stories or not. It's not mandatory. So this was just my clarity on that. Like, okay, everyone is basically free to do, and what we committed to, we will do anyway. So that no one else feels like they have to do that. Yeah, so that's cool for me.
I guess I can offer what I've been working on kind of slowly. It's sort of has its roots in the proposal that we put together during my cohort as an ambassador. So it's an audio rising thing where I read a prompt, or I have a prompt available and people read it, and then they spend some time alone and talking to a cassette player actually. But the cassette player's audio is kind of funky. So I've got these collections of people talking about the seeds economy, just all across the board, and doing some, I'm gonna do a little video of that. And so any collaboration is welcome. And then I've got I do these audio pieces and put them to music with a musician. And I've got one that I really love that was a story about seeds in Russia. And that one's coming together really well. But yeah, I'd love to collaborate, and I don't know, those are kind of some things I'm working on, and I want to do an onboarding story with an organization I'm working with in Canada, but that's going to be like a long piece and take a while to do because the onboarding is going to be complicated. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
Well, it's great, Tina. I've been wanting to submit an audio recording for that project. Are you still open for anyone in the space to approach you with a recording to participate?
Oh my God, yes, please.
Great, thanks.
Such a beautiful, lively reaction. All right. Space is still open if anyone has any other thoughts on the stories surrounding the game guide. Yeah.
Just a question, is it still called Game Guide or Seeds Guide? Because I've seen Seeds Guide as the new title.
You are posing a very interesting question, Melanie. From my understanding, but I may be completely wrong in this, from my understanding, it hasn't reached an agreement yet. However, I've seen that in the guide document, it has changed name and it's their seeds guide. So I have absolutely no idea. That is the answer. Maybe someone here is more up to date in that. Maybe someone was in the exploration group around the naming of the game guide. If so, please
Yeah, no,
explain.
right, you just changed it. There was no agreement or anything. You just just doing something, okay?
Yeah, that was alarming, actually, to be honest. I saw that. I was like, wait a minute. Like, why?
But was anyone here in that exploration? Because I saw there was an exploration group around naming, right? Maybe Max, you know about that?
Yeah. Julio started it, and I mean, many people contributed, especially also people here. But then Julio made a poll, and in this poll, Seeds Guide is first, but it wasn't really like a comprehensive poll because not every suggestion was in there yet. So that's why it's kind of like, yeah.
I have one question. It's like towards anybody who knows how to answer it. The codex creation, I mean, what are we kind of addressing towards the seeds or game guide with the codex creation?
I would propose that we talk about that on Friday during our
Sure.
Codex gathering. And in the meantime, have you watched the recordings of the other sessions? If not, yes.
Previous one, yeah.
Cool.
Coming back to my question related to game or seeds guide, I feel for the moment, for me, it's okay, and I'm not so involved in that process. But I come back, Tina, to your piece of wisdom, which you have put in the forum, where you speak about the inherent value of seeds. And words are very important, and the seed will become a tree, meaning the seed will be gone at some point in time. So if we call something a seed guide, we might be careful about the word, as at some point in time it's no longer there. The seed becomes whatever. And it might be the right thing. It was just that I felt we need to be careful with the word seeds and need to be, as storytellers, aware of that we tell different stories with different words. That doesn't mean we have to change it back again. It was just an observation.
Yeah, I second. And I'm for changing it back, personally.
I think I would suggest that this is addressed during our outer sessions. The fact that, because when I hear the two of you saying changing it back, I think that raises more of a question of why is it changing it back? Why was it changed in the first place? And if it was a non-representative poll, then maybe it shouldn't have been changed in the first place. And maybe we shouldn't have been trying to change it back. So yeah, I think we should address that. If I remember to do that next Tuesday, I will. If not, if anyone here remembers to address that on before actually making changes, that there is a comprehensive agreement between explorers at least.
I'll help you bring it. I'll bring it up if it, I'll help with that. It's important to me.
I will always call it the game guide.
Oh gosh, I love you all. Okay, Michael, yes, go.
I was just going to ask, isn't that a very Spanish response? They go ahead and do whatever they want anyway.
You know it.
I propose now, unless I am forgetting something, I think the only topic of discussion that we had in the agenda items was the comms agreements, RE and SEEDS. If I'm forgetting one, please put it back in the chat. If not, I will share my screen now. And oh gosh, oh, it's here. Can you see my screen? Can someone unmute?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. So we have this document that has been going around for a while. I think it was started doing a, oh, a neon cat just appeared. I think it was started during an outer space session. I'm not entirely sure where that began. I just decided to pick it up at one point because I saw that there was no one doing it. And I think having agreements surrounding communication is incredibly important in the Renaissance Explorer space. And moreover, if it works in the Renaissance Explorer space, we could see this as kind of a fractal of the SEEDS community, and we could maybe propose that to the overall SEEDS community, but that's for later. And so this communication patterns for joyful collaboration, increasing signal and decreasing noise. I love this title. Did not come up with this, but I do like it. And in this, there are different categories: general communication, communication on Discord, communication on the RE forum, communication on the SEEDS forum, the one in the Passport that not a lot of people use, communication during sessions, meetings, and calls, communication on Twitter, and then there is like a bunch of other ideas that came up during that session that are to be included here and haven't yet. And there will be an appendix part with like resources on nonviolent communications, for instance, if anyone isn't familiar with them. So I guess my would be for us to, wait, I'm not mistaken, there we started it. Yes, we have half an hour left. So my proposal here would be for us to kind of go over these communication patterns that have been outlined already by us, by the community, because this was all like suggestions that came from all of us during that call, and either propose changes or comments. You can just, you know, like add comments and propose a comment if you think that it doesn't answer to a need or it's not very well specified, and propose other ones that may have been forgotten, leaving space here for new ideas. And the idea for me that either in this session or in a next session in the storytelling space, we take like maybe half an hour of the next session to actually vote on it. I don't know, or just not having any objection by the people present. It means that we will have agreed upon these communication patterns, and to actually start applying them and be like first aware of them, and then like the people who kind of remind each other that Discord is used for quick announcements and a short form content where we don't put proposals. On Discourse, where we have structured and concise communication, but we do put proposals in medium to long formats. And this is how there's someone unmuted. And this is how we put proposals up on Discourse, and so on and so forth, so that we're all kind of communicating in ways that feel more generative for all of us. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Reactions to this, first of all.
Maybe this is obvious, but I wonder what the intent. I mean, you kind of said this, but the intention of the communication policy, like altogether, is because, like, when you say something like, not you, but like when the doc's just like speaking from the heart, I go, well, some of our communication is not really heart based; it's very mind based, and maybe you can have both things. You can listen and or take in or come from the heart, but you know, there's like the 3 heartbeats, whatever it is that, but I don't know that. I guess what I'm like wondering is, like, when I look at the different patterns of communication that are naturally occurring, I wonder how do you actually make a protocol that's meaningful for those that aren't just explorers either, in a way that doesn't inhibit or block or require new technological bridges, but kind of cultivates or supports what's happening in more full ways. So intentionality feels a little bit unclear to me, and a desire for greater clarity on that.
Intentionality feels unclear. Could you tell me again why, Justin?
Yeah. I guess when I sensed the story of this document, there was maybe some frustration around the way communication was happening on Discord, and a desire to find some way to kind of curb, shape, redirect that in new ways that were more aligned or supportive of something. That something's not super clear to me in some way, and then, but also how this document is meant to, the intentionality around how it wants to support those on Discord in their communication styles and patterns, knowing that they're communicating from different places around different things across different cultures. I feel like the intentionality, if it's coming from a place of negation or coming out of a I'm not liking the pattern styles, so how can I regulate or protocol them so that they work in a way that feels better? That's a very particular intention. If it's that I'm noticing that these are the ways that we are truly best communicating on Discord or across Discord, Discourse, the Seats Forum, if this is meant to be kind of broad sweeping, or in our community or in our system, I don't know. I'm just wondering what the intentionality of the doc is in a way, because to regulate and to do so from a place of stopping actions we don't like, that feels potentially like censorship.
Right, thanks. For me, at least, it doesn't come from that place of stopping actions we don't like. Maybe that's why the doc was created in the first place. I don't know. For me, the reason why I picked it up, and I think it's important, I can share on that only, and not on the maybe original intention, is because just a quick example. On Discord, when there are long texts and long proposals that are made, they get lost. They get lost in all the other rest of noisy information that can be like, because we use Discord in many different ways. And one of those ways is like having quick comments as to something that someone just shared and saying, oh, that's lovely. Oh my God, I love this. Oh yes. And those comments kind of create a big chunk of information that makes it that some very valuable and not so ephemeral proposals get lost in all of that. So that's the reason why we created the forum space, because there we can have like different threads for answering different proposals, and we can have like those topics always alive, and we can always get attention to those topics. So that's why the forum, for instance, is important for Renaissance Explorers, so that it doesn't get lost in all the Discord noise. And I think, so I don't know, does that answer? Is that a beginning of an answer? Because I have other reasons as to why it's important for me at least, but that's the beginning.
That feels like a beginning, yeah.
Right. And as to like general cons like hard space, as you mentioned, I think that's very valid as a remark, and I would ask then that you put a comment on there so that we change, or like maybe let's not edit, let's not everyone edit directly, but like make a comment or a suggestion that we either take that part out or we change the wording on that hard space part, because it doesn't seem fitting for every single conversation that we could have, and so it seems limiting. So yeah, sure. I would suggest that everyone does that, putting comments and suggestions as what parts do you think are actually limiting our communication, what parts are not relevant maybe for our space, for our community, for Renaissance Explorers, trying to focus that in Renaissance Explorers at the moment. I know I talked about like maybe potentially it being some sort of agreements for the whole Seeds community, but that's way down the line and maybe not ever going to exist. So let's focus on Renaissance Explorers for the moment. And I had another, another part, for instance, in the third part RE forum, as to having an official process for creating and passing a proposal is important, because that way, in my opinion, it empowers people to know what they have to do and how they have to do it. 2 hands up. Okay, thank you, João. I don't see hands up. So they are empowered in the sense that they know now how they have to go about it, so that their idea becomes more than just an idea. Their opinion is more than just an opinion. And so there's like the little process of opening a discussion on Discourse, coming up with a proposal, bringing that to the Seeds forum in the Passport, upgrading the proposal, taking up all the elements that were shared by other explorers in the forum, and so on and so forth. And I think that's important, and that is also in the way that we communicate, because at the moment, as we just talked about it with the Game Guide, Seeds Guide, there's no clarity, there's no explicit guidelines as to how things get changed or not. So I think that's a part of like the communication patterns. And I had and a last bit, for instance, there's the Twitter part that was added here in this document, and I can bet that it was added by Reiki. And the reason I think this is there is because the idea is also to, once again, like decentralize the communications and empower people in RE and overall Seeds community to use those communication channels. And why not to start using like the Twitter channel, for example, instead of it being just one person tweeting all the time. For that to happen, we kind of have to agree as to how we are going to communicate in each one of those channels. So yeah, so there's some sort of coherence. Does that answer, Justin? And then I'll go to Mila and Melanie.
I don't know. I think Mila and Melanie he may build on what's being said. I think it came up really early on in our conversation. So I don't necessarily need to close my thought. I want to keep hold mine open and just kind of be like contemplating on it. That's okay. But you're super helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Justin and Anna, for clarifying. You know, as a kind of relatively newbie, It's been a quagmire to navigate. There's so many documents, and often some are conflicting with the other, whether it's in Discord or the Seeds Guide. So I'm just wondering, similar to Justin, the clear purpose of any further documentation with longs and longs of pages first. And if we are creating a new thriving civilization and it is regenerative, co-evolving with life and nature, in nature it's very simple rules. They don't have like 500 pages. And I understand we're human, so it's different. And as part of a social innovation for biomimicry, they experimented in a school that was really havoc and disorganized with children, all the way to the teachers and parents. And they just had 3 simple rules. 1, take care of yourself, take care of your bags, take care of everything, take care of your emotion, your physical, and then the second, take care of each other. And within 3 months, and there was another 1 or 2 other rules, within 3 months, you can see the changes. And so it was giving the empowerment for every single person to take accountability for each other and for themselves. So I'd love to see that. And I know that this is still emerging, but I just get so overwhelmed with so many documents, so many videos, so many checklists, so many, and I understand this is the process and we're all learning and it's evolving. But at some point, in terms of we are going into a new thriving civilization, not having hundreds and hundreds of pages of guidance to live our life, so to speak. And basic structure, because in nature it has basic structure, but allowing for flow, allowing for adaptability, flexibility, because the moment we put something in label, a person can completely understand it differently. And to Justin's point, when somebody keeps on using very vague words like heart space and all that, a lot of people ask me, what does that look like? Because it could be very different from each other, what heart space means. So, giving examples what that means, because I kind of get what the heart space means, but how does that transfer into practical application, communication? So that's basically my questions. I don't know the answers, and maybe I'm offbeat. There's other things that I don't know of, so apologies. I'm coming from somebody with a childlike wonder and a complete innocence to some of these things that I'm actually learning right now.
I love that childlike innocence and perspective that you bring, Mila. Thank you. Just before I pass to Melanie, I would like to give a quick reflection on that. The heart space thing, for instance, came from the community. It came from explorers that were in that call. And I actually saw I kind of rearranged the document to take out repetitive things. That heart space part had been repeated, I don't know how many times by people. And the trust part also had been repeated a lot of times. There were a couple of them that have been called by a lot of explorers. So I guess what I'm saying is we're never going to fully agree on the terminology and on even maybe the communication patterns. I think what we should be aiming for here is communication patterns that feel good enough to try for all of us. And I would also agree that long documents are a no-no, even though it's important to have guidelines, because for a newcomer that is coming into Renaissance Explorers, for instance, it is nice to know, how do people actually talk on Discord, on discourse, on the forum, and blah, blah, blah. Because maybe we know because we've been here a while, but newcomers don't necessarily, and we can cut short their integration learning curve by having a document. But yes, let's make that document short and let's make those communication patterns the minimum viable possible. So yeah, two things to consider. We're never gonna get like full consensus. So maybe let's go with good enough. And yeah, let's cut out a bunch of stuff if we feel like it's not relevant for us. That's it.
Can I just comment on that? Very quick. So one of the reasons, from a regenerative point of view, one of the things, the secondary is technical concepts and technical application process. The primary in regenerative practitioners is social and cultural transformation, which this COMS document is part of. And part of that is obviously, like the Regeneration Explorer, is the inner work. And part when we're doing communication is, or any kind of design, is also doing a feedback loop. So yes, we do a lean, agile prototyping, what is safe enough for now, good enough to try. There's also the feedback loop that needs to be integrated. It's not just, okay, this is a document and then we go away and then let it, just sink in forever and no one really reads it, but really look at the behaviors that come out from that, and then realizing maybe a lot of people are having problems with just heart space without, so there's the feedback loop, but there's double feedback loop or nth order feedback loop, which is the result of whatever we're prototyping, we are learning from, but also the assumptions, the mental model, the limiting beliefs that created design in the first place, to then learn from that. So if the explorers are coming up with these trust and whatever, when we do the feedback loop, we also question what was the limiting beliefs, what was the mental model, what was the worldview? Because if we are creating a thriving new civilization, what old system construct that is in the subconscious that we don't realize are coming through our design? And if we never question that and never sit down in a very discomforting space and saying, hey, we're coming from some mental models, worldviews that we didn't even realize this was coming up. And so it's not just the feedback loop of the prototyping, but the feedback loop of the mental model that designed it, because where we are today is caused by that mental model. That's the root cause of all of the systems that we're creating that does not align to the well-being of all. So I pass it on to Melanie. So it's something that I would like to invite to consider when we're doing, because that is the one thing that I never see, very rarely I see in communities doing that process.
I, for one, really appreciate your insights there. Thank you. Yeah, I think feedback loops are imperative. We have to self-learn through our systems. And I wanted to bring to, Bobby had mentioned this in the discourse, and I have been reading the book, but Kinship Earth has a very amazing system of.
I'm sorry, Tina. Maybe I misunderstood something, but I think Melanie had her hand up before.
Yeah, Melanie had her hand up just.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'll pass it on to you afterwards.
No worries. I now have written down 3 pages of things I want to speak about while listening to you, and they are very messy. So I will try to keep myself within 1.5 minutes to have enough time for others. Most important for me was, second page is the most important one. Gratitude to Anna for bringing that topic up. And after the call, I will do this Discord thing with gratitude, but I will not switch somewhere now. Gratitude to Justin to bring up the Wisdom Council again, because I feel this is a missing piece where we as Renaissance Explorer can add something if we start to take over the role of giving the wisdom in the system in the best possible way. I see, for example, in some calls, people in a good intention begin to teach me things I have learned 10 years ago, where I, at some point in time, ask myself, should I keep calm so that that person learns, or should I speak up to say, this would be a bit different space? With the document, coming back to that, which problem are we solving and whose problem are we solving with that document? You solved my problem with reminding me again that have taken on the role of the Renaissance explorer, so shaping the culture. So from now on, I personally don't need the document anymore because you have reminded me. So for me, it's already done. And that brings me back to the wisdom counsel that could help to keep long documents short. Last thing, to keep it in my time, I feel the original reason was not creating comms, but how to handle conflicts and tensions, because I saw it coming up when there was in Discord a person who was in the end blocked. I feel Reiki also asked us to speak about what are the criteria for blocking. But I love more the way we were talking about it. So, and now my 2 minutes are gone. The rest piece I have to put in the forum to start new discussions. Tina, to you now?
Yes, to you, Tina. You can take more than 2 minutes if you want to. You can go after again. Please go, Tina.
Yes, Melanie, I want to hear more of what you were saying. So feel free. I just wanted to bring into the conversation the kinship earth method of just, I really appreciate some, and I can't bring it up because I have no internet connection, so I can't remember them all, but one of them was definitely the expression of gratitude. And so I just wanted to bring that into the fold, but Melanie, you already started by doing that, so I feel like I'm complete. Thank you.
Okay, I take the freedom to take another ½ minute and not start teaching, because I also gained a lot of wisdom within my 50 years of life. I feel it's important to make sure that we always find the right space for the right context. And that's something a document can never do. And having said that, the titles of the document communication help us a lot, because they speak about, let's switch to the document, increasing signals and decreasing noise. So what is the right channel for doing what? And I feel there we can add a lot of value in updating this document for us and then living it, because what we are doing right now is shaping the culture and creating the way of communication, and where we need to be, no, speaking from me, where I have to be more courageous is just telling someone that I feel that the way they are doing it, if they write again 1 page of Discord, doesn't help me. So it's again my self-responsibility to work on these things, which I also was reminded by you, Anna, in bringing that document up. We have to start living it in a way. And I'm not the best person to speak about Discord, because I take the freedom not to read much of it. So that's more or less all. And I have one very important question. What is a neon cat? I'm too old to find that out, the one in the Google Doc. So maybe someone can tell me.
This is the best ending possible for this call. Talking about the neon cat. In very short formats, I don't even know how to explain this. I think it was maybe 10 years ago, maybe even more, I don't know. Tell us a story about the neon cat. Some crazy internet person decided that it was a good idea to put an image of a cat with a Pop-Tart, and coming out of the cat's butt was a rainbow. And there was a video that was made out of this very rough animation where the Nyan cat would walk through the galaxy, just doing this very basic movement up and down and advancing with rainbow coming out of its beautiful butt with a very catchy and annoying tune attached to it. And that went on. Yes, thank you, Agniantai. That's it. And there were videos made in loop of that Nyan cat going on and on around the galaxy with rainbow coming out of its beautiful butt with this very catchy tune to it that lasted for hours and hours and hours and were uploaded to YouTube and to every other media out there. And so the Nyan cat became this internet phenomenon. That's the Nyan cat.
Ah, I got it. That's what we have to create with our stories, but differently.
Yes.
Okay, it's the end of our session today. I would like to propose a round of checkouts. I hope I couldn't read everything that is in the chat, so I hope I didn't forget anyone. And if I did in the round of checkouts, you can bring that up. I'll start by saying that I'm very, very happy with this session. I came here with a medium level energy, and I'm getting out with a lot more energy than I came here with. And I think the conversations today were incredibly generative and beautiful and nourishing. So thank you all for being here in this journey. And I'll pass it on to Mila. How are you checking out?
Grateful and yeah, grateful for the welcome and the warmth and the discussions. And I pass it on to Nikki.
Thank you. I feel really enriched and complete. I'll pass it to Xavier.
Thank you, Nikki. I feel inspired. I would like to get together for brainstorming about viral memes that we can co-create. And I also suggest that we can create 3 or 4 modalities of stories: financial or corporate, authorities, nerds, and the layman, things like that. I'll pass it on to Michael.
Muchas gracias, Javier. I so agree. I so agree with the different narrative stories. We're finding the same thing in what we're doing here. You have to have very different stories to each one. Maybe just one other thing to add: onboarding, which is the overall discussion that we've had today, is a challenge that every single app maker has, every single news story. So this is not new, and it's not an easy problem to crack. But it's a very easy one, and so I love the conversation today. It was awesome. Let's pass on to Anya.
I am going out from here like with an energy of a Nyan cat. And yeah, I love these 2 things that popped by Javier and Michael. Now I would also love to contribute that on forum, so go with that.
Yeah, I'm also agreeing with this and living and the meeting very happy actually. One thing I love about today's meeting is the focus of it. I think this is by my feelings one of the most focused meetings we had so far on one thing, and like let's go to it. And I actually really liked it. I think it brought good ideas and a better understanding on what's needed. So thank you for the space, and I'll pass it to Ana. Já foi?
sorry.
Melanie.
Then
Melanie,
Melanie, yes, Melanie didn't.
I feel inspired. Again, I understand a bit more what regenerative storytelling might be, because I go out with more energy than I came in. And I still have to learn how to adapt that. And yeah, that's all for now. More on Friday when I describe a bit what my little piece of idea to the codex is. I hand over to Joao. How are you for checking out?
Can I let my flute speak for me just a little? Just okay.
Pass it on to someone, my friend.
Who is your flute passing to?
To Justin.
Yeah. Oh, I had like 1,000 thoughts in my head. Now I have 0. Maybe that's my checkout. I think I feel complete. And I'll pass it on to Nikki.
I've been already, maybe.
I just want to hear you again, Nikki. I just want one more time, please.
Oh, my mind is blank now. So I'm curious what Tina has to say as a checkout.
Yeah, I've just been listening deeply this session, and I'm gonna kind of continue with that into my day. Yeah, thank you, everybody. I love this space. It's my checkout.
And she passed it on to Rachel, maybe.
Can you guys hear? Does that work? Is it off?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Yeah, my phone is I don't know what it is. Maybe the morning, just my internet is just not quite woken up. But I guess checking out, I loved everything you guys had to say. It's weird not having the device work as easily, because then I don't feel like I can jump in as easily. But I just wanted to say like that. Yeah, there's so happy that you're all like doing this all together, and it's just really fun to be a part of it and to have all the discussions and the communication and everything. And it just makes me feel like I can just look forward to what this is going to turn into, if everybody's voice is turning something into something magical. So I'm so excited about it. So that's all I have to say, and I don't know who's left. I can't see, so if there's anyone else, I pass it on to you.
I can. I'm very left on the left. So yeah, I sense a great momentum in how Renaissance Explorers is showing up, is showing commitment, like in consolidation even of like groups and interconnectedness between the different spaces. So I definitely believe we're on the good track here. So yeah, I love sharing that, and like also such a calmness in the energy that we are presenting as a group. Like I can tell you in the core team, sometimes we are not able to hold the calmness as well as we do it in like the more collective spirit, and I'm really loving that, because there are just more more different energies that go around, and that that creates yeah, that just creates a really nice space altogether. So that's my checkout. I jumped in late, but really love that I did. And yeah, see you all again, both on the forum, on the Discord, next week in the calls, and all those other opportunities. The Miro, we're creating so many places. I was hearing also today that maybe that becomes or that might become a new one. So we need to kind of find our way through all this content that we're creating, and so, but I have full faith in the fact that we're doing exactly this. And yeah, check out. I might have been the last one to check out, and otherwise, please share something more if you feel like. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you all. Everybody checked out, right? Yes, okay. Well, thank you all, my dear friends, lovely explorers, and see you all, for some of you, on Friday for Codex meeting. And otherwise, see you next week.
Don't forget to save the chat.
Oh, I think it is saved.
Does it get? Oh, thank you. I thought it didn't get saved with the video. No, I was telling everybody. I was just doing an auntie bit. You know, Auntie Javier is just, don't forget to save your chat.
Beijos.
Beijos. Tchau, tchau.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.